All right, Carlos, so you were a huge contributor coming mid-season for the team last year. What do you think a full season, full off-season and full season with the team can help with your game and just how you can contribute here?
I don't know. I just feel like, with such a small sample of games I got opportunity to play in, and you were able to see what we were able to do and accomplish. I feel like if we can get that from the day one with off-season program and being in the OTAs and being in the meeting, learning the culture, I just feel like sky's the limit because I feel like we were able to accomplish some great things last season in such a short period of time. I just want to build on that, and I wanted an opportunity to build on that. So I'm grateful, I get an opportunity to do that.
Thank you.
Jen?
There was a 2-week period there where you weren't with the Seahawks. Was it nerve-wracking at all?
Nerve-wracking? No. The Seahawks, obviously, they were very transparent, and that's something that, I appreciate from day one. Coming in, when we were doing the signing and the trade, they let me know that this would be a potential move in the postseason. And then when it actually happened, it still hit different because, I'd never been cut before. But they were still very transparent. They wanted me to know that they wanted me back. This was one of the moves they had to make because of the situation they were in, cap-wise, and with the new numbers.
Corbin Smith?
Hey, Carlos, I know this has been a crazy offseason with the salary cap going down and players and teams trying to navigate those waters. But shortly after you signed your contract, or the report came out that you agreed to a contract, Jaron Reed was released and signed to the Chiefs. Who do you see stepping up to help fill that void? And my big question, would you be in favor of your former teammate Geno Atkins coming out to Seattle to join you to help fill that void?
It would be very dope to play with Geno again. But I think we have a lot of pieces on the team, a lot of young core pieces. Obviously, you've seen the signings that we have. They brought in some guys, and then we signed some of the guys that we had here. Puna, Rashid. I think all of these guys showed, glimpses of what they can do. And I feel like, with us together, starting the whole offseason, I can say the whole list, the whole D-line, because, one of the things about here in Seattle, everybody plays. They have a strong rotation, so everybody touched the field. So you got to see and be familiar with everyone on the D-line, and you've gotten results from everybody on the D-line. So honestly, I feel like we have a lot of the core pieces here that we can build. Obviously Jay Reed was a huge cornerstone for that, prior to me coming here for a long time. It's one of those business things, seeing him go, as seeing me come back. I'm just going to focus on what we have and continue to try to figure out a way to pick up where we left off and continue to make it better.
John Boyle?
Sorry, don't know why my mute didn't work. You obviously had a couple of weeks where you were a free agent and could have gone elsewhere. What in your half season with the Seahawks did you experience that made you want to come back?
It was the culture, the city and the pandemic. All the restaurants were closed. So I'm looking forward to trying all the food and sitting in many of the restaurants because I'm a foodie myself. As you see, I own a restaurant and I got a meeting after this. This is why I'm in uniform. But I look forward to, I came back because of the culture, the transparency with the organization. And I believe that, our season was cut short. And I said cut short because I feel like we had full ability and capabilities of going much further than we did. But it was cut short because we didn't perform. I feel like, I welcome the challenge of, starting from day one, game one, and trying to get back to where we were and going further.
Tim?
Hey, Carlos, when you were a free agent for those couple of weeks, what did you find on the market? What kind of offers were you getting? Were there other offers you seriously considered? And what about Seattle's offer made it the right one for you to accept?
One of the things I saw is that, a lot of quality players were, signing less than, the market normally would be because of the cap moves and the cap situations. And then obviously you learned about what do they call it? dummy years or whatever the terminology is that they use. A lot of people were going that route to work with the cap. There were a lot of teams interested in me. Well, not a lot, but a lot of the competitors were interested in me. A lot of teams showed interest, but only the true competitors really, actually made offers. But Seattle is where I wanted to be. So when the offer came from Seattle, I can tell you this: the deal was done within 24 hours from when they offered me to me signing. And the rest is history. And let's go Hawks.
Joe?
Yeah, Carlos, are you willing to share who other teams had interested and made offers?
No, I don't want to get into all that because my focus is being where my feet are, not where I could have been. That's why I don't really get into that type of stuff. I like to be present and be where my feet are. And I'm a Seahawks, so I'm going to make my feet move with the Seahawks.
Fair enough. Have you been in touch with some of your teammates, and maybe who have you spoken to has maybe welcomed you back and hyped to have you back in Seattle?
I have talked to a few of them. Obviously, the whole D-line, they added me back to the group chat, so we texting regularly through there. I have also talked to KJ. KJ was one of the guys who reached out to me. Jamal, Diggs, Bobby. He was happy to see me come back, and Russell was, we was communicating throughout the separation, and obviously when we were able to get it done, he was excited as well. So, yeah.
Brady?
I might be forgetting a couple names off the top of my head because I didn't write down a list. I had the same number since 8th grade, so I still have 600 unread messages on my phone.
Hey, Carlos, excuse me. What do you think about just the collection of edge rushers that Seattle has assembled?
Obviously, I have not studied a couple of the new pieces that we added, but I've heard nothing but great things. I heard that Kerry has a lot of versatility, playing inside, outside, and the big fella, don't want to get his name wrong, that we re-signed that was with the Seahawks before. He's a staple inside.
Woods.
Al Woods, yeah, Mr. Woods. So we have a few pieces that we already had in the young core, as you guys already know and are aware of, and they've added some more veterans and savvy players who just can only help the scenario.
Are you going to be back in number 43 next year, or are you looking for a different number?
Yes, I'm looking to pick up where we left off and make it better. So that includes me keeping the same number. One of the things you guys have learned about me is that I'm a creature of habit, and I like to finish what I started. And I feel like we got a lot of unfinished work to be done.
Thanks.
Bob?
Yeah, Carlos, you said when you got, even though you knew it might happen when you got cut, it did feel a little bit differently. I mean, was there any point during that week or so where you thought you might not be back with Seattle, or were you just thinking the whole time this is still going to work out?
Well, yes. I'll be lying to say that, what was it? How many days did buddies just say? 14 days? I didn't count the days.
About 2 weeks, almost exactly 2 weeks.
Okay, but yeah, after a week passed, obviously, a lot of people were signing, a lot of teams were signing their guys, and Seattle didn't sign that many guys in the first week, but they started signing guys. So I was, trying to gauge and feel, and we hadn't got an offer, we hadn't had strong conversations with Seattle at that point. So obviously, we started fielding and entertaining all the other teams that were interested in calling, and then Seattle called, and it was where I wanted to be. So that's the true explanation of that is how we were able to get the deal done within 24 hours. I think that speaks to itself.
Art?
Carlos, since you did talk to Russell Wilson, did you get a chance to ask him what was up with his situation?
I did not ask him that, but I did ask him if obviously he was going to be with us, because if I'm coming back because I see him as my quarterback, and the rest of the team, I want to pick up where we left off. And he told me that he's with us and he's here to stay. And he said, let's go Hawks. And I'm not going to quote his every word, or these words are not his words verbatim, but these are my explanation of how I interpreted what he said.
Larry?
You're muted.
Carlos, there was a dramatic defensive improvement by the Seahawks after you arrived. With some time to reflect upon it, what do you think led to that, and how sustainable is that in your mind?
We got guys healthy at the right time, and we got the pieces that we need. I was able to, jump right in, and the coaches made it so that I fit right in with the scheme. And then you had Jamal coming back off injury. You had other guys getting healthy, and just accumulation of guys figuring each other out and putting it all together and executing it at the right time. Because ultimately, the team who out execute the other wins the game. And we were doing what we needed to get it done.
Greg?
Carlos, what is it about the culture that you like here in Seattle?
That's one of the things that I'm trying to, because I keep saying that, and I'm trying to elaborate on it a little bit more, but it just feels so much different. Like I think, my family, my friends, and all the interviews, because, the games don't play in my markets, but except the national ones. When they watch the interviews and stuff that they could see and or find, because, they had the Google alerts and stuff, in the interviews, they were all talking about, how happy I looked, how happy it seemed like I was, and they were all happy for me because they could see that. For me, I think that just plays and speaks to the culture itself. It's a very fun working environment. PC, he gets to know everybody. He encourages and celebrates everyone's individualism, as well as, creating a team, creating a program, and competing at the highest level. And that's something that I value. It's one of my core values, is always competing. And so, that was I think that's, Pete probably uses that word in his interviews, and when he's talking to the team, more than 10 times.
And to be clear, when you talked to Russell Wilson and he reassured you he's here to stay, was that before you re-signed or after?
So that was before I've signed.
Thank
you. Hinting at something that I don't know? That was before I signed.
All right, two more for you, Carlos. Joe Fan?
Yeah, Carlos, I want to give you a chance to plug your restaurant. Are you out there on the patio now? What is it? Where is it? What's the name?
The patio actually kind of looks like this, because this is actually my patio at my home. But I did this wall, and I did the wall at Honey that you'll probably see on a lot of people's Instagram. If you ever check the geotag, it looks exactly like this. I found it on Amazon, watched the DIY video, got me a nail and a hammer, and did this one first, and then I did the one at the restaurant. But it's called Honey Uninhibited. Right now, it's the #1 trending brunch restaurant in the Miami area if you search for breakfast in Miami. Spring break was absolutely a blessing. I won't say insane, it was a blessing. And just want to continue to build on that, build my team, and doing what I got to do. I took on the challenge of learning multiple positions within the restaurant during this off season, and that's enlightened me and gave me a different perspective. And I feel like it's just going to help me in the long run, ultimately, because my goal is to have multiple locations. And yes, to answer everyone in Seattle who messages me regularly about bringing one to Seattle, I would love to bring one to Seattle, but what's the saying? The jack of all trades is the master of none. So I want to, master the one that I'm in the space that I'm in, before I stretch myself too thin, because obviously I can't be two places at once.
All right, last one from Masvita.
Yeah. Hey, Carlos. You signed, you talked to some of the players. So what's next? I mean, off-season workouts with some of the players, or what's the next step now?
Well, I got my iPad so I can get into the playbook so they can open the playbook up a little bit more for me. So I'm gonna start getting on that here soon. Try to link and connect with a few of the guys. You know, I talked to Benson when I was in LA. I reached out to Jamal too to try to see, you know, what he's got going this offseason. Just try to get with some of the guys in the D-line. You know, obviously, a few of them frequent visit Miami, so I encourage them to come to the restaurant. Me and Cedric are pretty good friends, as you guys might know, because we drafted him. He was my first-round pick to Cincinnati, so we hang out. I've seen him a couple times, so it's good to have him back and sign back as well. And that's really it. You know, getting to know the guys because, you know, I was traded mid-season, and here I go with a whole slew of new names and faces, which, you know, Dave and Jeff probably experienced a lot of it when they were pulling me because, you know, in Cincy, I was there for 10 and a half years. So I knew everybody and I spoke to everybody because, you know, one thing that you could not do in the hallway with me in Cincy was, you know, walk by without speaking. So I always either said hello, good morning, whatever it was, to whomever, you know, from the janitors, security guards, teammates, to the upper office, to whomever. You know, it was just how I was raised, you know, being in the South.
Top 2 items on your menu?
Top 2 items on my menu. That's crazy you asked that because I just looked at that too because I'm evaluating which items I can remove, tweak, or just, you know, just to see where we're at. Currently, it is the Sweet Chick, which is our version of the chicken and waffles served with our spicy honey that we make in-house. And the number 2 is the creme de la creme French toast. Creme de la creme literally means the best of the best, so it speaks for itself. And, you know, yeah, we if I told you specific numbers, you would be baffled. But currently, you know, our reservations are, you know, over spring break we're 1,200 in a weekend. You know, and we only seat 120 seats at a time. So, you know, that tells you what kind of environment and how busy we've been blessed to be.
Thanks.
All right, Carlos, thank you. And thank you everyone for joining us.
Thank you.
I appreciate you all. Look forward to getting to know you all more, and go Hawks.